Hello and welcome to the Ridiculously Good VA Show with Tracy Daviero. If you are a virtual assistant or want to be one, this is the place to learn the tips and tricks you need to become a ridiculously good VA. I've been a part of the VA industry since 1998, and I'm excited to get to know you and help you build an amazing business. Let's go. Hey there, welcome to another episode of the podcast that teaches you how to be a ridiculously good virtual assistant. Today, I'm excited to bring you a special guest. I don't do a lot of interview episodes on this podcast, but when I connected with this fellow, I knew it was something that I wanted to share with you. Let's go. My guest today is Rik Yapp from Kirmada. Kirmada helps virtual assistants be more focused, productive, and profitable. They create ecosystems where you can focus on individual clients without interruption or disruption. I recently talked to Rik about Kirmada, workspaces designed to get you out of what they call browser tab hell, and he is my guest on the show today. So thank you so much, Rik, for being with us here today. I'm so happy to talk about this system that I think we connected quite a while back about it. We were talking, and then sort of things got sort of mislaid, never really followed up. And I'm glad that we connected about a month ago or so. We started talking about Kirmada, and I had a look at it, and that was my first time with you having a look through it. And I was just really impressed. Never mind the price point. We'll get to that, obviously, but it is a project management type of system. It's an all-in-one system, really, for virtual assistants. And I want to just start off by reading hold on one second. Oh, of course, it's not coming up on my phone, but I just want to read the website really quickly, and then I want you to jump in and say hello, because I feel like this is a really good intro. So it's a game changer for virtual assistants, workspaces designed for multitasking. And I love these questions on the website to begin with. Do you have hundreds of tabs open in your web browser? Do you struggle to keep your clients organized? Are you leaving money on the table by missing billable hours? And would you like your work to be easier and more seamless? I love all four of those. And it says juggle multiple clients effortlessly. And that's what we're talking about today on the podcast with Rik. So here we go.
Absolutely.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about how Kirmada started, and or how you came to be at in the position that you are there, and helping people find it, because I think that's kind of what you and I are trying to do here. Is we're trying to get more eyes on it, because it's just an amazing system that really will help virtual assistants just do run their business better.
Absolutely. Well, the system was actually born out of my business partner, Adam, who was a web developer, and he had multiple clients, just like virtual assistants. And he was getting really frustrated at having to swap all the time. So he'd be working for one client, another client would call up, he'd have to log out of one thing, log back in with a different user ID, open some more tabs, keep track of what he'd done. And he said it was just getting unmanageable. He said at the time, I just want to be able to swipe one client off the screen and the other one is just there straight away. And that's essentially what we have done.
Right.
I think one of the key things is that as more and more software has moved to the cloud, more and more people, and virtual assistants especially, tend to work inside a browser all the time. And in my opinion, it's not fit for purpose. Never mind Google profiles and this, that, and the other. They're really not designed to work inside. They're designed for searching the internet.
Right.
And so we wanted to do something that was specifically for this purpose. And we decided that virtual assistants are actually the perfect fit for us. And it certainly seems to have gone down really, really well. It just works. We wanted something again that worked, something where you just turn. An analogy that I used is before the filing cabinet, people had stuff all over their desk. They had loads of pieces of paper and files, couldn't find things. It was really difficult. Then the filing cabinet came along, and all of a sudden, everything was in its place. And it's the same with Kirmada. Now people have got a mess all over the screen with hundreds of tabs or lots of different profiles or whatever it is. And again, Kirmada just tidies everything up, puts it in its place, and it's easy to find.
It really is. When we walked through that little demo not too long ago, it is very simple to find what you need. And so I want to talk about the features and all the things that it has. But I want to just come back to your point that, when Adam was working on, or when he was working outside of this, something different, that is the challenge. And I've had conversations with virtual assistants in the last week, not because of this, but just, things come into
Hmm.
your sort of conversations, and about this exact issue, about who pays for the time between tasks. It's an interesting sort of concept, right?
It
And
is.
sometimes it's a tiny bit of time, and sometimes it's a lot of time. But when we're looking to, and we can be the best time managers ever, but there's still that change from one to the next. And it's like closing the door, walking across the hall, and opening another door. And like I say, you can certainly do it efficiently, but I love that, that was exactly the reason for creating this. And that's why this is so timely, because Adam's right. It's just, you just want to swipe one person out of the way and get into another person, and then come back to that if you need to, right? So let's talk about then the features, or the pieces of Kirmada, because I think that that's there was more in it. There is more in it than I thought there was. A lot of times there are a few other systems that I've tried to do this kind of thing with, and you're talking about working in a browser all the time. 100% we do, and it's not efficient, and it's not. I love, well, we'll get to Google in a minute, but I love the way Kirmada brings everything in together into a tab for a client. So can you describe sort of what is, I have a big list here, but can you describe sort of what is a part of Kirmada, and what is what you can do within it for
Yeah,
each client? We call them workspaces, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Hmm.
So essentially, you have a workspace for each client. It doesn't have to be for a client. It can be for a project, or for even
Right.
personal things, or things to do with your company. But each workspace has its own, it's basically a browser, it has its own tabs, its own logins, its own calendar for social media, and it has social media management built into that.
Hmm.
Um, and it has its own timer and timesheets, which is quite a key thing, because as soon as you go into a workspace, the timer starts. So it knows you're working on that particular client. It also has its own cloud disk space, and that's for the important files that you need for that particular client. And it also has team collaboration, so you can share a workspace with your team, and that's really, really useful, because you can share things automatically, and keep track of what you're doing.
That's awesome. And I think too, those were the things that surprised me when we first started looking, was the social media scheduler, the cloud storage. And I know that place, Asana, you can upload your files and that kind of thing, but this is different. This is not, it's not something, it's just not inside that particular system, right? So
Absolutely.
and so we're talking about replacing things like Calendly, like team, like Dropbox, project management
Yeah,
systems, timesheets, who uses what for timesheets? I can't even think, Toggle and that kind of thing. We're talking about replacing a lot of these different systems with this, and something that's built specifically for virtual assistants and contractors, and that type of thing. And it is really simple. It's kind of funny to think it sounds like like a huge system, but when you look at it, it is really simple. So obviously, you say Adam's a programmer. He got it right, because I think that when we look at all of the things we need to do, all we want to do is put it all into that file folder and put in the filing cabinet,
absolutely,
Yeah. And
absolutely.
then I remember I used to do that. I used to tell people way back in, I've been doing this a long time. And I used to tell people that, we talk about how do we digitally file things? How do we manage things? And so I always still have a notebook on my desk to manage, my daily tasks and that kind of thing. And I would say to my clients, here's what what I do. I go to my filing cabinet because I had one. I've sold it since. I'm very proud of that. But I had a paper folder for each client, and it had their passwords in it, stapled to the front page, and it had everything I needed. And I would come, and it was a folder on my computer at the time. It wasn't a cloud. There was no cloud storage or anything. And those were the two things that I would access. Everything was in one of those two places. So with the little scraps of paper and whatnot, but it was organized, and
Yeah.
it felt organized. And then when I was finished with that client, what did I do? I put the papers back, in new papers, anything like that, into the file folder, into the filing cabinet, and I closed the digital file. But I always knew where to find everything. And if anybody had to come in and help me for any reason, it was really simple. And I think we've not somehow, but I think we've gotten away from that with all these amazing tools that are out there, some of the ones that I just mentioned. But back to basics is pretty good. It makes things simpler.
I absolutely agree. I
Mhm.
absolutely agree. I mean, there's proliferation in tools, and there's so much complexity. And I think simplicity is really important. You want
And
something that,
price tag,
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk all the time about virtual assistants knowing what their expenses are going to be. And when we're planning, we're setting up our business, we're setting our rates, and we're making sure that we're going to be profitable. We say you have to factor in the expenses that you're going to have to incur, not maybe today, but in 6 months from now, whenever you do have a full roster of clients, and all of a sudden you aren't charging enough to pay for all of these things. And so we have, you could have hundreds of expenses every month just because you have to add on, add on, add on. And so, yeah, whenever I had a look through Kirmada with you, I was really, really impressed. And so, I want to thank you, like I said, for being here and talking about it. Is there anything any stories you could tell me maybe about people that have used it, the virtual assistant? Of course, you're in England, so you are very busy over there. You guys have lots of stuff going on with virtual assistants in the UK, and we're starting to kind of get the word out for you here as much as we can. And so, can you tell us any sort of success stories or anything like that
Yeah,
people have
yeah.
done?
So we had our official launch at the UK VA conference in
Hmm.
October last year, and we didn't really know what to expect. Very much enjoyed the conference. Really nice atmosphere, very supportive. I think the VA industry is a very supportive industry, which is brilliant to see. People actually look out for each other and help each other, and it's
We're
fantastic.
awesome.
You are
Yeah.
awesome. I do
Hmm.
agree. But so Adam gave a 15-minute demo of Kimada to all of the people there, and 20% of them signed up and are still
Amazing.
signed up today, which
Yeah,
I think is an amazing, statistic to say,
it
well,
is.
if
Yeah,
20%, and they love it. We've had about 40 reviews so far. Every single one's been 5 stars out of 5. Not a
fantastic.
single one less than that.
Yeah. When you create something out of a need that you have for yourself, like Adam did, I think that
Yeah.
we try to do everything right, because we've hit our head against the wall so many times, and we think, there's got to be a better way, there's got to be a better way. And so I think that it was certainly created with the right intentions and by the right person because of his ability, of course. So but I love that. And I think that I think that anything that is directly supporting or created for virtual assistants, I think is really important because our business is a little bit different than other people's businesses. We have these Salesforce and all this kind of thing, and lots of VAs that I talk to are looking for the best system to do this, the best system to do that. And we're not talking about keeping hundreds of or thousands of people in a mailing list or a client base or anything like that. We're just talking about doing the work. And so for me, like I said, when we talked about the workspaces and all the things that you can do inside, and it looks great too. It looks great, and it looks really simple whenever you go in, and to be able to do that, it speaks to us directly. And I think that even, obviously your website does too. So I love that, and I want to help you spread the word for sure, because I think
Brilliant.
that a lot of VAs can definitely take advantage of it. And so I want to just talk briefly about the Google connection. So when you are in Kirmada, and this is an actual question because I didn't really notice this before you mentioned it off the top. Do you have to be logged into your Google account to access all of these tabs? No.
No, not at all.
Okay, that is that. And when you said that, I was like, I think you may have mentioned that last time because that's to me, that's quite a big feature. Because when I'm in my Google account, I mean, I have a few, but the main one that I'm in, I don't need everybody to be able to access my stuff. I don't need to log out of one and into another and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a web browser based all-in-one system, right? What do we call it? Do we call it? I'm calling it all-in-one, and I know that's not right.
Well,
Okay, let's call it all-in-one system.
I think it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because I started with project management. I'm like, no, it's not quite that because
Yeah.
it is a web browser and it is everything. So yeah, we need a
But,
we
you
need
know,
a noun there that describes it the best way possible. So I
okay.
do definitely like that it's not definitely connected to Google because other systems that are similar to this that I've tried before are. So I really like that. Okay, so what else do I want to know from you? So web browser, and I'll just run through the little list of features again, just so that if anybody's listening, the web browser, timesheets, social media scheduler, workspaces, like Teams, cloud storage, calendars, tasks, and budgets. So we can budget our time to
Yeah.
determine how we're going to be working for our clients. And we had a chat before too, because one of the things that I find happens as a very busy VA when we need organization is that we lose track of our time. And so to your point, as soon as you switch over into a client's workspace, the timer starts to go. And I think that one of the things that I help virtual assistants with as their coach, is to find lost time. And
Yeah.
so when we get to the end of the day, we're so busy, we're keeping track on paper or with systems or whatever that we have in place, how much time we've spent. And we get to the end of the day. And this happened to me. I remember it so many times. I would get to the end of the day. I had worked from 8 in the morning until 5 o'clock at night. And I get to the end of my day to sort of do a quick tally of how much billable time I've got. And it's between 4 and 6 hours. And I'm thinking, where did my time go? I don't know where my time went.
Yeah.
It's probably how I got so much better at time management, but billable time is the thing that keeps your business profitable and going. And so
Absolutely.
it's really important to track it. So I love that and I'm not a fan of billing by the minute to clients and all that type of thing, but I think it's really important to know where your time is going. And a couple of VAs have asked me recently, what sort of tools can we use to do that, to keep an eye on where our time goes? And, I've suggested a couple of different things and they cost $10 a month or something like that. It's an added expense. So it's like, you don't really want to always continue adding things on. And so I love that is in there. It's not necessarily so that you send a detailed billing to your client, but it's for you. All of this is for you so that you are more organized, so that you can get more things done. You can work distraction free because you're not going into all the other systems that you need to go into normally. And I love it. I just think it looks really, really good. So
That's brilliant.
yeah,
Can I just say a couple of
absolutely.
things about that? So,
Yes.
in terms about missing billable time,
Mhm.
the first month that Adam used this tool, he discovered £800 worth of unbilled.
I don't want to learn that because
No,
then you do
well,
the math. You
I
say,
know, but you
oh my
know,
gosh,
yes,
800 pounds.
yeah,
That's incredible. And
yeah,
that's for us, I'm in Canada. So that's like $1,500,
yeah, exactly,
one month,
exactly. Yeah,
one
that was
month.
1 month,
And
and
yes, go ahead.
no, and another thing to say is that there was a study by Carnegie Mellon University and University of California, and they reckoned that this switching between things in a slow way can lose up to 40% of your productivity.
100%.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
it will.
yeah,
I've
um,
read those statistics too, because like I say, I do and I guess it's just a support professional, issue. I do work with a lot of the VAs I work with. It is on time management and organization. And the funny thing is we can organize our clients so easily. We say, here's what you have to do, tick, 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 and that's it. But it's different when you switch into your VA business, because all of a sudden you don't have just one boss, and you don't have someone that you can see super clearly what they need to do to get better. You're trying to manage expectations, you're trying to manage workflow, you're trying to manage a lot of different things, definitely priorities, because a lot of our clients, when they send us something that they need done, you have a work request, it's important to them and they want to get it back at this time. So we tend to think that everything's urgent, everything's necessary and quick and has to get done. And so time management kind of goes out the window, because we think, oh, you requested this, yes, let me get that done and get back to you. And so it can be really, really challenging that way. But when we get down to it and we start to look and say, not everything is urgent, and working with a lot of clients at once, we do have that lag in time where we're switching tasks. And so then we talk about batching work, and we talk about, there are so many ways to handle things, but it's the momentum that gets lost. That is the thing. And that's what we don't recognize. We just think, I'm so busy, I have to go from here to here. And I think I put it in the podcast last week. Anyway, I talk about it quite often. I say I invented this concept of a 20-minute meeting, because, I did it myself, because I thought, what am I doing? I'm losing all this time. I would book 30-minute meetings all the time, like everybody does, right? Not an hour, because I thought I was being efficient booking a 30-minute meeting. And so I'd book a 30-minute meeting. We'd get there, I would be super organized, and I would say to my clients, here we go through the agenda. Great, thank you very much. I would get them to the end of that 30 minutes and say, I'll update you later, or whatever. That's what we'll do. Hang up the phone, and I would jump into another call. And I would get on the next one for 30 minutes. And so, that's the way the clock works and everything. And at the end of the day, I would be going through these pages of notes going, oh, I talked to Joe and he said this. I talked to Mary and she said this. And then I'd spend an hour updating a project management system or multiple project management systems to get things sewn up for the end of the day. And I didn't bill that to anybody, for one thing, right? There's some lost time. But at the end of it, I just thought, okay, why am I doing a 30-minute meeting when a 20-minute meeting will absolutely suffice? You can absolutely do the same thing in 20 minutes as you can do in 30. And then I took the other 10 minutes, which was still billable to the client, and that was the processing time. So I would take 5 minutes or 10 minutes to put their stuff where it needed to go. And then that was the end of the 30 minutes. And so when we look at things, and that minimizes the distractions, and it keeps the billable time to the billable client. And so that's what this kind of thing does, is it helps you, like you say. I think the timer is probably one of the most brilliant features. I love that, because it helps with all of these things. It helps you analyze what you're doing, what you're spending too much time on, what you're, should be maybe spending more time on. And in my case, the 20-minute meeting, that was it. It's like, don't drop the next piece, which is the most important part, the processing of what needs to be done, because that's where the time gets lost. So anyway, I love it.
Okay. Well,
okay, so is there anything else you want us to know about Kirmada before we tell people how to get in touch with you?
well, a couple of little tiny things. Well,
Yeah.
one thing springs to mind. You did a podcast about 2 months ago about how much you charge as a VA.
Yes.
And it's a very interesting thing, isn't it? Because as you pointed out, as you get better, you're going to get faster. And you don't want to make less money because now you're doing everything twice as fast. So you're only making half the money because you haven't got doing the hours. So this is something that's coming in the future, but we're looking at basically giving people like a status. So how, and it's really to do with how much you're using Kirmada, how much you're how many clients you've got, various things. But you could then analyze that data and say, right, if you're at level 4, then you should really be charging $35 an hour.
Oh,
That's the average for someone at this level of a VA.
interesting.
I think that would be really nice, because it would give you the incentive to get faster and get better, but be able to have some kind of proof to the clients to say, look, I'm a level 4 VA. You should be
Yes.
paying me this.
And it's so funny, because it's not a regulated industry, as so many are not, right? And that's the thing that really comes up often, is, what do I charge? And you can charge whatever you feel like you want to charge. And so, I think that I like that you're thinking of that concept, because I think that not a lot of people have. And it's not about regulating it, but it's about giving us the confidence to say, I know here's where I am. This is where I
Absolutely.
am.
Uh,
Because confident, I mean, I call myself the confidence coach for virtual assistants, because confidence is an issue in so many areas of our business, rates notwithstanding. It's
mm,
crazy
mm,
how we really undervalue ourselves, and we're always looking to see, what should I be doing? What should I be charging? What if this? And oftentimes we settle in on a rate that is, we're happy with, our clients will pay, and then don't even raise it. So I think that these are the things that we have to get better at. And I like that. I like being able to have a marker, to be able to
yeah.
say, this is where I feel like I am. Because it's not a certification, it's not everything, but you're right, it could be a level. And I really like that. That's awesome. So the one thing we did not talk about was price yet. And this was where you got me, and you got me on it. I said, what are you talking about? So, we could do the whole, what would you pay for this? Like the
Yes.
infomercials, right? Well, how much would
Yeah.
you pay? Less, with the big X's going through. But we're not using the video. We're talking on video right now, but we're just using the audio. And so we were talking about how much Kirmada costs per month, because, expenses. So can you tell us how much it costs to use it?
Yes. Yeah. It currently costs £10. I don't know how many dollars that would be.
I looked at the website this morning. It says 1823 Canadian.
Yeah,
So
1823 Palladium. That's
yeah,
yeah.
so $18 per month, and it's 10 pounds sterling, right? So
Yeah.
it's 10 because you're in the UK. And so you just use your card, it does the automatic transition. But 1823 today per month. It replaces, even my Dropbox, I think, is $18 a month. I'm pretty sure,
Mm,
because I pay that in US, but I think it gets converted to Canadian as well. I believe that's for one thing.
thing.
And
Yeah.
this is for all the things. I pay $25 a month for my Calendly. I pay $28 a month, I think, for my social media. So I already told you I'm going to be checking out Kermata, because I think that it certainly does many of the things that I need. And I think it's really suitable for our businesses as virtual assistants, because it was built with us in mind, and the way that
Yes.
we run our businesses. And so it's a really, really great price. I know you also have a free level that has just a couple workspaces. I would run out of workspaces just like that. I know,
Yeah,
but it
exactly.
is really easy to try for free if you want to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but for £10 a month, it's really, for me, it's a no-brainer to check out, at least, because I think that we're all going to find, and I'll be honest, I have not tried it yet. I've only gone through sort of the demos and looked at the site and that kind of thing. But I really did want to share this with you guys today, because I think it is really important for us to be looking for things like this that are coming out, that are new, that are built for us. And I love it. So I really appreciate you being here talking about it. So
That's another thing to say, though. I think the whole virtual assistant industry has been massively overlooked by software, and it's
mhm.
forced every virtual assistant that we talk to, they use different set of tools because they
Yeah.
cobble things together to
Hmm.
make things work for them. And we'd like Kamada to be something that you just go to, okay, and it works for you. Maybe
Yeah.
you'll need to add other tools in the future, but
Hmm.
it will definitely get you going.
Well, and I think it will more than get you going. And I think that, like I said, we're always looking to, and I was looking also, you have the option to pay annually, quarterly, monthly, or the free level. And I like that, because we're able to make those decisions. And usually there's money is such a barrier to entry with a lot of systems, because you get a free 7-day service and then start charging $50 a month, and it's really difficult, because it makes it challenging to try to get to really, try the services out, and try all the features out and that kind of thing. So this is an absolute no-brainer to me. And so we're going to put the links to actually sign up for it in the show notes. And so those will be there. But if you want to talk to Rick, because Rick is here to tell us all about things, how do we do that, Rick?
Yeah, you can just email me.
Okay.
I'll drop you my email.
Yeah.
Um, so
Okay. We'll put your contact info in there too. So email is best for you. That's great.
yeah, that's fine.
And yeah.
Also, on the website, there's a book a demo at the top that just goes straight to Adam's calendar, and you
Okay.
can book a 30-minute demo anytime you like.
Okay.
And also, we're always available to help with onboarding if people want it. It is very simple to set up, but
Yes.
we're always around.
Okay.
We want to help as much as we can.
That's awesome. That's really great. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you being here talking to us today about it. Any final words before we leave for this episode?
Um, no, I don't think so. Just very positive about the whole VA industry.
Yeah.
I think it's a great industry. Has some great people in it, and it's growing and maturing as well. More and more people. I suppose one thing to say is, it seems like more and more VAs are starting to clump together in groups,
Hmm.
and that's really interesting. Sometimes they have VAs with different skills, so they can cover all kinds of different bases.
Yeah.
But we're talking to quite a few groups. We have quite a few groups using Kirmada, and we're
Hmm.
actually updating the reporting side of things to make it better for the person running the group to be able to see, all the different VAs within it and how they're all
Hmm.
doing. Um,
Right.
yeah, so
And that 10 pounds per month, or 18 Canadian if you're, here in Canada, is for unlimited workspaces, by the way, guys. And I think that's, it's one of those things that when we sit down to use something that is functional and, does what we need it to do and does, so much more, it's really, really easy to build on it. And so I think that knowing that is important too. But I love that you said that with your experience in the VA industry, or working, with us through this, is that the VA industry is starting to mature. And it's funny because I've been doing this a really long time, over 25 years now in the VA space. And I think you're absolutely right. I think that what I'm seeing is there's a whole digital everything is different. And I think that there's a whole bunch of people that are have been in the business a long time who welcome changes like this, because it doesn't cost us an extra $500 a month to run our business efficiently and effectively, and to do the things that we need to do. But it also helps us to um, you know, be a client's equal, because we have all of these systems in place and we are managing our own time better than we probably have before. And we're managing our own rates, and we're managing our own billable time, and we're managing all the things that we need. Everything that you have inside of Kirmada is something that all VAs should be doing. And sometimes we don't, because of that barrier to
yeah.
something extra to log into, or something extra to do, or something extra to pay for. And so I love that it's all inclusive. And like I say, that's why you're here today. And I so appreciate it. So I want to thank you once again for spending your time with us today. Rik Yapp, you can get in touch with him at Kirmada. I'll have all of his details in the show notes, and we will be in touch with you soon.
Thank you ever so much. Been a pleasure.
Thanks. There he goes. That was Rik Yapp from Kirmada, and I'm so happy that he was available to chat with us today. As a VA, you have to check this system out. We've included the link to Kirmada in the show notes. Be sure to go and check them out. The expense seems crazy low for all that they do, and they really want to support the virtual assistant industry. I've also put a link to their website on my links page, so if you go to yourvamentor.com/links, you can find where to connect with them there as well. I'm Tracy Daviero, the Confidence Coach for VAs, and that's all I've got for you this week. I'll see you next time.